I want to give you guys the last supply and demand training that you are ever going to need. Now, you're not going to master this overnight. It's going to take some time, but if you just start implementing what you're going to learn in this video, it's going to change your trading career and your life. Okay, so what I want to kind of go over here is the NQ chart. So we're looking at the NASDAQ 100 futures. One thing that I want you guys to pay attention to, I've got some blocks on the screen. Now, some of these blocks are going to be supply and demand zones from the 1 hour time frame. Okay, now the reason why I like using the bigger time frames to kind of mark out my supply and demand is because these levels are going to be a little bit more concrete. They're going to be a little bit more strong than just, let's say, a 1 minute time frame kind of supply and demand, right? So essentially what I'm looking for here and what we're actually looking at is just today's price action. Okay, so we're just looking at today's price action. We're just looking at from the open until where we stand now, and it's currently 10:30 in the morning Pacific Standard Time. So what I want you to kind of look at here is the fact that once we kind of put in those highs off the morning, you can see this yellow line here. That's the 200 moving average. Now, the only indicators that I'm going to put on my screen is going to be the 200 and it's going to be the 20. Everything else that you guys are going to see on the screen, I physically am going to go ahead and mark out based on what the price action is doing. So you can see here off the open, we have a little bit of consolidation here where we're kind of trying to use this area of support as an area of support. Okay, so what does that mean? That means that this area here is acting as a prior level of support and it's looking to stand. Now, when we get this bounce off, you can see we never get over that 200 period moving average. Automatically, light bulb should be going off in your head. You should be automatically thinking the momentum is to the downside. There's a little bit more sellers present than buyers. Anytime you're trading below the 200 period moving average on any time frame, the sellers are in control. Now, that doesn't mean that we can't bounce. It doesn't mean that we can't have a little bit of a rally. Of course, you can have that. And if you do want to scalp to the upside when we're trading below the 200 period moving average, you need to make sure that you're taking profits a lot quicker. Treat it more of a quick scalp where you want to get in, get green, and just get the heck out. Okay, so with that being said, look at what happens when we finally start to lose this support system here at around 8:45 in the morning Pacific Standard Time. We lose this block. We trade down to this little bit of a range here. Okay, so as we trade down into this range, one thing that I want you guys to notice here is this. Okay, so as we make that first kind of pull down, we do get a little bit of a bounce. Now look at where this bounce climbs back up to. It climbs back up to this previous support. Okay, so once we lose, again, once we lose this whole zone here, we trade down and try to find a level of support. Okay, so as we come down into this level of support, we start to notice that there's some sideways consolidation going. If you kind of notice this area, there's some sideways consolidation going. And what you need to do at that point in time is identify that the price of the stock or index or whatever it is that you're trading is trying to establish a new home. So as it's trying to establish a new home here, as long as we don't clear the previous supply zone block, okay, you would be looking for the loss of a prior demand zone. You would be looking for the retest, which I've drawn out here. Look for the retest back into that prior zone. And if we don't start to build out of that zone, we need to be thinking rejection. And we've got to be thinking coming back down into this floor that we're creating. And if we lose the floor, which we're trying to establish here, we need to be thinking short. Okay, so this is picture perfect if you were to draw it out. Nice bounce, or excuse me, nice flush, nice little bounce, followed by the continuation flush. Okay, so what you're looking for here essentially is as we lose one previous area of support, look for that area to put in a new low. Once that new low is established, which is established here, you're looking for the bounce. Okay, and as soon as you get the bounce, what you want to see is that bounce get rejected at the previous level that we lost. This is called a break and retest. So we broke through this zone, we're retesting this zone, and as long as we don't build outside of that zone, we're thinking down. Okay, down. So what we need to do here is instead of trying to pinpoint each and every single candlestick, because I have a feeling, and I've talked to traders before, a lot of traders get shaken out on a candlestick by candlestick basis. They see the candle go up a little bit, they're profitable. They see it go down a little bit, they're red. They get panicked, they FOMO, they get in and out of trades, they overtrade, they do all sorts of stupid shit. What you need to actually do is position yourself size-wise that's going to be allowed to be able to ride the waves. The stock market is going to go in waves. Even when it's going straight down, it's not going straight down. It's going down aggressively, bounces aggressively, goes down and bounces. So again, you want to essentially ride the waves. And if you notice here, this bottom demand zone that was marked out on the chart from a prior day, almost 3-4 weeks ago, this is the last support that I can find. So when I was looking at the 1 hour time frame, the 4 hour time frame, I couldn't find any previous areas of support. I had to go to the daily time frame and I had to go back over a month. This was a previous area that stood when price action touched it before. So until we break down below this price, we have to expect that the bulls are going to at least try to defend it the first go around. So again, once you lose a support system, right? You lost your support system, allow the price action to go down and put in a low. Allow it to consolidate. Allow it to bounce, because we want that bounce. We want to see this. We want to see this. We want to see it bounce back up into that range and get rejected. Now, if it doesn't get rejected and it continues to go, fine, we will get another trade later, because what we would be looking for in that particular situation is for it to break this zone, put in a high, come back into the zone, hold, consolidate, and when we push out the second time, that's our long entry, okay? So being that we didn't do that, we're still thinking down. So as we come down here, and once we now here start to lose this new support system, we've got to be taking this position short. You can see us put in a low, price action comes back and back test, and then washes again. Price action bounces, and then washes again. And the second wash is where you want to be taking profits, and you want to be taking profits into your demand zone. Now, again, let it consolidate, let it bounce, let it back test, and when it comes out the second time, you can take your long entry. Now, again, where would you be thinking about taking profits on this particular situation? As we approach that prior resistance level, okay? So as we approach that prior resistance level, and I'm going to go ahead and draw some lines on the chart so you guys can kind of see exactly what it is that I'm looking at. So again, after we make this low into this demand zone here, what we want to see is a bounce. And when we get that bounce, we need to be thinking about taking profits into that previous area of supply. And I hope that makes sense. And I hope that's going to give you guys enough context so you guys can go out there and start using this. But again, if you just start to play support and resistance, supply and demand, whatever it is that you want to call it, if you just start to allow the moves to kind of play out in your favor, and you allow the trades to kind of work and expand, and you actually give them time to work, you're going to see that you're going to be a lot less stressed. You're going to be a lot more profitable, and you're going to have a better comfortability level when it comes to taking trades on a day in and day out basis, because trading is 90% psychological. The other 10% is confidence. And the small smidge is learning how to read chart patterns, learning how to read support and resistance, learning how to read indicators. That's the easy stuff. I can teach each and every single one of you like this, how to read a chart. What I can't teach you how to do, what's going to come from you and come from you actually taking the trades, is getting into the trades and learning how to manage, right? We have to be great risk managers, and we have to be great managers. So what that means is, if we have an idea based on our support and resistance, and it's not necessarily working out in the favor that we would like to, we've got to cut the trade. Or when it does, for example, in this situation, if you were to take this short, once we come out of this support system, right? This support system being the gray box, if you do take this short and you hold it here and you see us start to get rejected, and then we start to put in the new low here, if you don't take profits down here, okay? And let's say, for example, that this bounce comes all the way back up here, and now you give away all of these profits and get stopped out, that's your fault. Because why are you being a greedy SOB when you could have taken profits here in a prior area that has shown you that bulls have stepped in and bounced it before? So again, maybe sometimes people get into a trade somewhere here, right? Sometimes people will get into a trade somewhere here, and then as the move's going down, they're profitable and they don't want to sell because they just think it's going to continue to go straight down and straight down. Next thing you know, it starts to bounce. Now at this point in time, you're break even, or in fact down a little bit. And as it comes back down again, you go profitable, you get happy, you think that it's going to break down. It doesn't, and then has an aggressive bounce and you stop out up here for a loss. Don't do that. If you're going to enter here below the whole breakdown, again, breakdown of a previous support, back test, right? Back test, rejection, we need to be thinking short, and we need to be thinking short into the next demand zone. Let it bounce, let it come back. Now this second time, as you can see here, this is currently live at 10:45 in the morning Pacific Standard Time on the 17th of August. Now that we've kind of held this demand zone here, we've bounced out of the demand zone, and now we're back in. Let me remove this. If price action comes back out, this is where you're going to want to take it long. As we come back out, we've held it once here, we've held it multiple times here. If we bounce and come back out, you can start taking profits, guys. And where would be some of the places you're going to want to take profits? At the 20 SMA would be one pit stop. As soon as we get over the 20 SMA, look for it to close over, back test the 20 SMA, and as we continue to ride higher, you want to be selling profits again into this previous area of rejection that used to be support. You will not have a long trade until we break this zone, okay? Till we break this zone, and then we come back into it, okay? And then we come out again. So let it break the zone, let it come back into it, and let it push off the second time. And this is where you guys are going to want to get long the second time. Okay. So I hope that kind of makes sense. Again, if you just rewatch this video over and over and over and start to analyze the chart and analyze the zones, and then pull up the chart on your own and start marking these out and kind of reading the price action, kind of back testing yourself in real time, putting yourself imaginary in these trades, you're going to start to see the bright light at the end of the tunnel. You're going to be more profitable. Again, this is the last resistance and support, supply and demand, whatever it is that you want to call it. This is the last training video that you guys will ever need. It's only about 10 to 12 minutes long, but it's got enough information in here to allow you to come into the market each and every single day and be profitable and be consistent. But again, it comes on you. Anyone can learn to read the charts, but can you execute? Because this game, which we call day trading, this game that we call the stock market, this game that we're playing here is a very serious game. There's always someone else on the other side of the trade trying to take money out of your hands, trying to take money out of your back pocket. The moment you start figuring out what it is that you're doing wrong, whether it's psychological, whether it's technical, and you start actually fixing and working on those particular problems, is when you're going to see the breakthrough. Again, if you guys want to get access to the rest of my courses and all of the strategy guides, you guys want to get access to intraday live technical analysis, you guys want to get access to live streams, you want to get access to one-on-one coaching where we can sit here and go through your trades one by one to kind of see where we went wrong and what we could do better, become a lifetime member at evolutiontraders.com. It's a one-time fee. Again, guys, and if you can't invest in your education, then you're not really going to take this seriously. Again, you can go out here and do it all by yourself. And of course, you can learn how to do it all by yourself, but you're going to learn that it's going to take 1, 2, 3, 4 years for it to finally start to click. Get around other people. I failed for 2 years. Thousands and thousands of dollars were lost until I broke down, admitted that I did not know what the hell I was doing, and hired mentor after mentor after mentor, and read book after book after book, and got involved with other people who were trading and doing this on a day-and-day basis. That's where I really start to see the change. Now I'm giving back and doing it for everyone else. But again, I have over 2,000 videos on my YouTube. You guys can definitely learn on YouTube for free. But if you need that extra, right? If you need that extra, if you need that one-on-one, if you need that camaraderie of the trading team, join Evolution Traders, get access to the study guides all live in one place. I'll see you guys on the other side.